Ole Miss linebacker Chance Campbell, kind enough to join us here on the show, as he always does each week. We tape this on Monday, in case anyone wonders. When you see it on Tuesday, we tape it on Monday afternoon. And Chance's visit with us is brought to you by The Rogue, 4450 I-55 North in Jackson. You can also go to therogue.com. The collegiate collection's coming in. They have all the best from Peter Millar, Martin Dingman, Jack Victor, True Grit, Duckhead, and so many more brands. Check them out again, 4450 I-55 North in Jackson, or therogue.com. Chance, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good. We'll start here. You guys had a weird day on Saturday, obviously. So I played just enough football decades ago to remember that game day is kind of like a countdown. You know, I mean, everything is sort of timed. You know what time you're getting to the locker room. You know what time you're going out for warm-ups. You know what time you're putting on your pads. You know what time you're having a pregame meal, the whole deal. And for you guys, that time had been set for 7 o'clock for all week. And so on Saturday morning, you wake up, you're like, okay, game's at 7. As it became obvious that the game wasn't going to be at 7, take me through kind of what that's like in a locker room, the mindset of keeping yourself ready, but not too ready for a delay that maybe was going to at some point. At one point, people were like, hey, they might not start till 10. And then they'll start at 8. You guys ended up starting at 8:45. Just kind of take me through that.
Yeah, I didn't even know what time we started, so I guess 8:45 was the start time. Yeah, it's weird because I kind of before game, like just like you said, you have that clock, you have a whiteboard that lets you know when you're ready to roll. And I think we had sent people out. I think we had people that were out, and then I'm sorry about that. Little alarm. I think we had sent people out. And then they came back in. I have my headphones on, just like kind of trying to get focused for the game, and they were soaked. And then I started kind of seeing guys like take cleats off. So I like popped my headphones off. I was like, "What's up?" They're like, "Yeah, we're delayed." And I was like, "All right." And then so I guess it's like 30-minute increments for lightning strikes. And they kept getting pushed back. So, but the staff did a really good job. Like we had extra food brought in, and like they were kind of keeping us updated, like giving us like kind of a countdown. So trying to like adjust that so that we didn't get too high or like stay too low. Like guys weren't like laying down sleeping, you know, because you still gotta be ready. But it's like a weird middle ground to play.
What do you do typically on a pregame? Are you stay into yourself, listen to music? Are you listening to silence? Are you talking to people? Everybody kind of has different ways to get ready for a game.
Yeah, mine's like I would say like fairly consistent. I've had like some tweaks, but for the most part, I just put on headphones, listen to pretty easygoing music. I don't really talk too much, so which is like some people think I'm angry, not angry, just like kind of just trying to get my mind right, go through some stuff. But yeah, I'm normally pretty quiet and try not to get too amped. Coach Kiffin talks about it a lot, but like don't like burn yourself out before the game, which is cool because that's kind of how I had been before. That's something that like he emphasizes too. So it's a good deal.
So you guys finally get the call, hey, we're going to play. You go out and play. Once again, you guys, I know that you're probably disappointed with the amount of points that you gave up, but the yards continue to be, I guess you gave in total a little over 300, but for the most part, you guys dominated the game other than a short field and a kind of a blown assignment. In terms of where the defense is today from as opposed to where it was maybe, the week getting ready for the Louisville game, where do you guys kind of think you are?
I think we're doing well. We're doing some things. We're fixing some of our mistakes. I think there's still like a lot that we'd like to clean up. Like I was really proud of our guys for the way that we came out the second half. That's something that I think we'd wanted to improve from game 1 and game 2. And then I think if we just clean up a little bit of like some of the explosives, which we handled for the most part. I know I'm a big violator of this, like missed tackles, and that's something that like I'm gonna talk to my guys about. For me personally, like something that I can't do. And then like the short field, like our offense treats us really well, so like we need to help them out sometimes too, and like kind of pick them up. So it was a short field, but I think our defense is like really proud of what we have, and so I think that's one that we would have liked to have back because I think we do it again and we do what we're supposed to do there. So I think we're doing some of the right things, just like kind of clean those up and making them more consistent.
You're right. Your offense has not turned the ball over hardly at all this year. And then so when a turnover happens like that in game 3, are you almost kind of stunned at first? Or, because the way that they've been going, I mean, they've been that whole game. I guess that first half they scored 6 of 7 possessions, which is incredible. I mean, so when that happens like that, or was it kind of mind jarring for a second?
Yeah, I mean, they spoil us. They really do in terms of like you said, they scored 6 to 7 drives, and it's like they do it in multiple fashions. Sometimes they're big chunk plays, sometimes they're these crazy drives. They don't turn the ball over, so that they've picked us up a lot before, and so that when something like that happens, it's very rare, obviously, and then like we kind of got to help them out because they do it all the time for us. But like yeah, when it happens, you're like, oh man, like they're not invincible. It's crazy. They've been killing it. So, but like those things are gonna happen, and not often because they're really really good at what they do. But when it does, we gotta do our part.
So Matt Corral was saying in the post game that before the game he had to kind of go over and tell his guys. He talked to defensive guys that, hey, let's focus on us. The Alabama game was on, or I guess on some TVs or whatever. Has your mind shifted to Alabama at all yet? Or are you still in sort of open date mode? I mean, that game obviously was announced today. CBS is carrying it 2:30, the big national game of the week. The kind
I
of
didn't know
no,
that.
there you go, breaking news. Um, the kind of games that you came to Ole Miss to play, and has your mind shifted to that at this point?
Yeah, we always have like our process of where we kind of put the last game to bed and then move on to the next one. So we haven't done that yet as a team. Like we're gonna go through that film and kind of do that regular process. But for me, I try to like good or bad. I like putting games to bed pretty early, so I'm looking forward to being able to do that. But I always like to take a peek at what we have the next game. I know it's 2 weeks, not this week, but so I like cut a little bit on of them and like mine's starting to transition. So you don't want to like skip too far from the last game because you want to take some of the good, take some of the bad, and like kind of move on. So you don't want to completely ignore it. But I've always been a fan of like getting on to the next one.
In your ideal world, would you play this Saturday and not have an open date this early in the season?
Yeah, I mean, I like how we're playing right now. Like I think that obviously there's things we like to get better, but it'd be nice to kind of like keep riding that wave. But I think it's a really good opportunity to kind of like we always talk about. So what now? What? So we have a bye week, and like that's a really good thing. Could be looked at as a negative. I think it's depending on they'd be a huge positive too. So it's just kind of how we look at it, and I think our team's going to take advantage of that. So I'm excited for it.
What is your usual approach in a bye week? What do you try to do for yourself, for your body, just for your mind, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I haven't had well, honestly, I haven't had a bye week this early, but last year I felt like we had a million of them.
Yeah.
So I guess that was a little bit of a different circumstance because last year I would when we'd have a bye week, I'd kind of like take a day to like get my mind away from football, but that was more of a COVID situation. So I guess during a standard bye week, um, takes just a little bit extra emphasis on like getting your body right. So it's early in the season, so thankfully it's not too much. But definitely do that, and then look at some stuff that you don't really get to look at during a normal week because there's a not a lot of time. Like there is, but there isn't. So things that you don't really get to look at as much. Like maybe that's a personnel deal. Maybe that's I don't know, looking back at a coordinator's history or something like that. So something that you can kind of take an extra little piece of. Try to do that.
How much when you made the decision to come to Ole Miss, how much was it to play in games like the one you're about to play in? You're going to go, assuming, I know Alabama has to beat Southern Miss on Saturday. They're an overwhelming favorite, 40 something points. Assuming they win that game, it's number one versus you guys are 13 today. You'll probably be 11 or 12 by then. I mean, it's a huge game on national television. Is that what you have always kind of played for?
Yeah, I mean that's super exciting. I was lucky I had some big games at Maryland. We weren't as highly ranked as we are now. I didn't know that we were that, so that's cool. But yeah, it's like when you're little and you're like throwing the ball around in your backyard, you're pretending you're playing the number one team in the country, and you're also super high up there. So it's pretty neat, and it'll be like a good situation. So I'm excited.
Alabama's been dominating the sport really since I don't know, since you were probably a little boy, I guess.
Yeah.
Is it hard to not I don't know, I don't even know what the word I'm looking for here, Chance. Is it hard not to kind of put them on a pedestal? Is it hard to not get intimidated by them? Because I know you don't get intimidated by anybody, but to make sure that you understand that in your own mind that hey, they're just a football team. They're a football team full of good players, but at the end of the day, they're guys that are just like me.
Yeah, for sure. I think this is probably a situation where like, coming from the Big Ten is is like helpful for me. And when I was little, I mean, my dad had played at Penn State, so I was a big Big Ten fan as well. So like I had that experience my freshman year with Ohio State. Like I kind of did, you not intimidated, but like kind of fell into that trap of like, oh wow, like this is a really good team. And then it was cool. That's a tough game to talk about because we came up a little short. Um, but it was like a really good example for me, and I think in like my career to be like, yeah, guys put on their shoes the same way, and teams are still a collection of 11 guys, like offense, defense, special teams. So it's like good to see that. Like it was good for me to see that my freshman year. So I'm not super worried about that. I mean, they're a fantastic team. I respect the heck out of them. But yeah, it's the next football team, so I'm still excited, like a normal deal.
I'm always kind of interested because I think you're being 100% genuine when you say you weren't aware of the ranking and some of that kind of stuff. Is Lane Kiffin talks about rat poison and being careful about not reading too much of your headlines and that kind of thing. Is that something that's kind of a point of emphasis inside the building?
I see. Like, I want to say yes, but I don't really think it is, just because we don't really talk about it. So it's like it's not even a thing where it's um, like, hey, this is out there. Don't look at it. It's not even mentioned. I was talking to a buddy that I have at Georgia Tech right now, who I played with, and he told me, I guess a couple weeks ago, when I guess we moved up in the rankings. He's like, "What's it like?" And I was like, I mean, you're telling me, I didn't know. Like, we don't really talk about it, which is like really cool because it's a place that's like all about ball and not necessarily like circumstances.
What have you seen, if anything, from Alabama so far? I mean, obviously it's an incredibly talented roster. It's a new quarterback, Bryce Young, who right there with your quarterback, Matt Corral, at right this moment, kind of at the top of the Heisman list. But a lot of new guys, a lot of guys left for the NFL. Have you had a chance to kind of get a feel for just how good they are?
Yeah, I've like kind of blitzed a little bit of tape, nothing crazy. They're super explosive. I think that's a staple that they've had for the last few years. That quarterback's really dynamic. I watched a little bit on College Game Day since we've had those like late games we played later. I've been able to see like some of the highlights of College Game Day, and they played those back. And he's a dude who's really good on his feet, makes great throws. He's like super mature for his age. And then all the staples of an Alabama team, like they run the ball well. They take great shots. They have a good receiving core. So I mean, they're a great team, and they're ranked what they are for a reason.
You may have just answered a question. It was on our message board today. I was one of the things I was talking about. A lot of people are speculating about whether game day will be in Tuscaloosa for your game next week. Do players pay attention to where game day is? Do you watch game day? Is that a part of your Saturday when it can be in terms of your schedule?
Yeah, I don't like look and see like where they're gonna go. I just always like watching it in the morning. It's like when I get up and we have a little bit of time to ourselves, like when we're not meeting or at a meal. Just like it's kind of like I forget the NFL term for this, but when they have that channel that cuts in and out of games.
Red zone?
Yeah, red zone. Yeah, my little brother would bust my chops for that right now. But yeah, NFL red zone. It's kind of how I feel about like College Game Day, but they give you like these cool background stories. So they like pull clips of other teams, and you like watch like player highlights and stuff. So I just always cut that on when I can.
I guess just last thing. What's kind of the general mood around you guys? A lot of people are starting to pay a lot of attention. Obviously, you get in the rankings. People are saying, "Hey, they're underranked. They're explosive. They're dangerous." You've had a chance to kind of see the league a little bit. I know it's one game at a time, but you starting to feel like this is a team that I know you always felt this way, but this is a team that has a chance to do something really special.
Yeah, I'm really excited like what we have. I think offensively it was pretty well known what those guys on that side of the ball can do, and I think they've definitely showcased that. And I think that we've as a defense put some good stuff on tape, and I'm like pretty confident and say that I don't think we put our like best foot forward yet. So like that's exciting too, because I still think that we put some good stuff out there. And then special teams doing really well too. So I'm excited of everything that we have collectively, and I think it'll be pretty cool to see like what that looks like when we put it all together and then put it all together for 4 quarters. So I'm really proud of this team. I'm excited to see where we go.
I said last thing, one last thing. What games will you watch on Saturday? Because you get a Saturday without having to play. You don't have to worry about delays or anything. You're not going to play Saturday. What's the schedule?
I gotta check the lineup. I'll definitely watch Maryland. I think they play Kent State. I had a buddy who's at Kent State who was at Maryland too, so that'll be cool. Um, I try to watch like I'll watch the big primetime games, but I'll also like when I get a shot, cut on some tape from like buddies that I had in Maryland that are at different spots. So like I have a buddy who's at Virginia Tech. I got a buddy who's at Georgia Tech, so I'll cut those games on. So, but I gotta see like I don't know any of the big ones that we had. I wanted to watch the Penn State Auburn game last weekend, or
Yeah.
I guess a couple nights ago. That was obviously during ours. So, but I'll see which ones they got on.
Well, listen, enjoy your open date, and we'll look forward to visiting with you again next week. Thanks for the time.
Thank you.